Welcome to the AI Coach by Anil Naphu. Today, we're diving deep into the world of vector databases and, their role in AI. Now, whether you're prepping for a meeting or just curious, this deep dive is based on Anil Naphu's article, Vector Databases and AI, How They Drive Recommendation Systems in NLP, which you can find on the AI Coach website. So imagine a library where you search not by title, but by meaning. That's the kind of power vector databases bring to AI.
Yeah, it's fascinating. This technology allows us to understand those complex relationships between data. We couldn't see them before. It's not just finding similar things, it's uncovering those hidden connections.
So Anil Nathu's article on the AI Coach website really breaks this down. Why are vector databases so important in AI now?
Well, AI is fueled by data, and the more complex the AI model, the more important it is to represent that data well.
And that's where vectors come in, right?
Exactly. Think of vectors as coordinates. They capture the essence of anything: images, text, user behavior, you name it. Imagine describing a cat. Its coordinates in a vector space. Things like furry, 4 legs, and meows. A dog would have different coordinates. And a lion, sharing more in common with the cat, would be closer to the cat in this vector space.
So using vectors allows AI to understand relationships in a way that traditional databases just can't.
That's it. Traditional databases are good with structured data, like rows and columns. But AI works with complexity and nuance, and that's where vector databases are better. They let us store and query data based on these complex vector representations.
That makes a lot of sense. It explains why vector databases are powering those interesting AI applications, like personalized recommendations, semantic search, and even real-time anomaly detection.
Yeah, you see those accurate recommendations on Spotify or Amazon. A lot of that is thanks to vector databases. They're helping AI to understand your preferences and making those hidden connections.
It's like they're reading our minds.
Yeah.
So how does this all actually work technically? How do these databases operate?
Well, at their core, they are designed for efficient storage and retrieval of these high-dimensional vectors. They use indexing, kind of like the Dewey Decimal System in a library. Instead of comparing every book, you use the Dewey Decimal System to narrow it down. Vector databases use similar techniques to quickly find similar vectors.
So instead of comparing every data point, the database can focus on the most relevant ones. That's brilliant.
There are different ways to do this, each with trade-offs. Some are faster, some are more accurate. Depends what you need it for.
So how do you even determine similarity? What does it mean for two vectors to be similar?
We use distance metrics. We're measuring distance, but not in like miles or kilometers.
Okay, how does distance work in multidimensional space?
We use math concepts, like cosine similarity or Euclidean distance. These metrics tell us how close two vectors are in terms of meaning.
So if I search for best sci-fi movies, a vector database could use these metrics to find movies that share similar themes or genres, not just the movies with those exact words.
Exactly. It's about understanding those deeper relationships.
This makes sense.
Yeah.
But Anil Nathu's article on the AI Coach website says vector databases go beyond recommending movies.
Oh, for sure. We've only just started. They're changing search engines and cutting-edge AI systems.
Let's look into some of those applications then.
One of the big ones is semantic search. Remember when you typed a query into a search engine and got useless results?
Oh yeah, all the time.
That's because those search engines rely on keywords. They often miss what you're really looking for.
With vector databases, search engines can now understand what our words mean, not just the words themselves.
It's like searching for a recipe with chicken versus searching for one about roasting a whole chicken. With semantic search engines can get the context and give you better results.
That's powerful. It seems like vector databases are changing how we use information.
They are. And it's not just text. They are changing how we search for images and videos, too.
So I could search for a product by uploading a photo or find a video clip based on what's in it.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about finding connections and similarities beyond just keywords.
Speaking of connections, let's talk about recommendation systems. They seem to be everywhere now. And vector databases are making them smarter.
Think about those recommendations on Spotify or Netflix. Vector databases are working in the background, analyzing what you've listened to or watched, and creating a vector representation of your tastes. Then they compare that representation to vectors of millions of songs, movies, or products.
You get a list of recommendations just for you. It's amazing how this is improving the user experience.
And it's not just entertainment. Vector databases are used in e-commerce to recommend products, in healthcare to personalize treatment, and even in social media to connect you with people.
It's remarkable how vector databases are shaping the future of AI. But I know from Anil Nathu's article on the AI Coach website that there are also challenges with this technology.
Yes, that's true. As with any powerful tech, there are things to think about as vector databases keep evolving.
So let's take a look at some of those challenges and what the future holds for vector databases.
So one of the big challenges is scalability. AI models are getting more complex, data sets are getting bigger. Vector databases need to be able to handle tons of data.
Yeah, I bet searching through a database with billions of vectors must be a challenge.
It is. It's not just storage. It's also the computing power needed to do those searches. This is where indexing and hardware come in.
Sounds like it's tough to keep up.
It is. Another challenge is accuracy versus speed. Sometimes you need to find the perfect match, even if it takes longer.
Right, like when it's really important.
Yeah. But sometimes speed is more important, like in real-time applications, even if it means being a little less accurate.
So finding the right balance is key.
Exactly. And then there's integrating vector databases with existing systems. A lot of companies already have complicated data systems.
Yeah, adding new tech to that can be tricky.
It is. But people are working on it. Now let's talk about computer vision. This is where vector databases are making a big difference.
Yeah, how are they being used in things like facial recognition and self-driving cars?
Think about a self-driving car. It needs to recognize people, other cars, traffic signs, all in real time.
It's like the car needs to see everything.
Right. And that's where vector databases help. They allow the car to compare what it sees to a huge library of images, all represented as vectors.
So the car uses vectors to see.
Yeah. And vector databases aren't just for recognizing things. They are also used for anomaly detection, like in cybersecurity and fraud prevention.
So a system could analyze network traffic and spot a cyber attack.
Right. Or it could detect a fraudulent transaction.
That's amazing. It
Yeah.
seems like vector databases could be used for almost anything.
They really can. And as AI keeps growing, vector databases will be even more important for managing all that data.
It's exciting. But it's also important to remember that this is new technology. There's still a lot to learn.
Absolutely. And that's where resources like Anil Nasu's AI coach are so helpful.
Speaking of learning more, what resources would you recommend for someone who wants to know more about vector databases?
Well, Anil Nathu's article on the AI Coach website is a great place to start. It's called Vector Database and AI, How They Drive Recommendation Systems and NLP. It gives a really good overview, and it's easy to understand.
Yeah, he's really good at explaining complex things.
He is. I'd also recommend checking out online communities and forums. They have lots of information and examples. And of course, keeping up with the latest research is important. There's always something new happening in AI.
That's for sure. And with the AI Coach by Anil Nathu, it's easier to stay informed.
Exactly. Whether you're an expert or just starting out, there's help out there.
So let's shift our focus to the future. What's next for vector databases?
Well, one exciting area is low-code and no-code platforms. The goal is to make it easier for people to use vector databases, even without coding skills.
So anyone could build things like semantic search engines or recommendation systems.
Yeah, imagine that, building these powerful AI systems without any coding.
That'd open up a lot of possibility.
It would, but as this tech grows, it's important to remember that data quality is key.
So the data used to train these AI systems needs to be accurate and unbiased.
Exactly. Especially as AI becomes more integrated into our lives, we need to think about the ethical implications.
Right. We need to make sure these technologies are used responsibly.
Absolutely. We need to consider potential biases in algorithms and work to fix them. We also need to be transparent about how AI works and protect user privacy and data security.
It's up to all of us to ensure that AI benefits everyone.
I agree. The future of AI is bright, and vector databases are a big part of it. By being innovative and responsible, we can use these technologies to make the world a better place.
And resources like the AI Coach by Anil Nathu can help us navigate this complex field. For our listeners who want to learn more about vector databases, where should they start?
I'd recommend starting with Anil Nathu's article on the AI Coach website. It's called Vector Database and AI, How They Drive Recommendation Systems and NLP. It's a really clear explanation.
He does a great job of making AI easy to understand.
He does. And beyond that, I'd say explore online communities and forums. There's lots of info there. And of course, stay up to date with the latest research.
It's an exciting time for AI.
It is.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into vector databases.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today. Visit the AI Coach website for more AI insights by Anil Nathu.